Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all you do to support this channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So, are Black Americans Africans? Now, we know that many of us, probably most of us, have African ancestry, African DNA in the same way that white Americans have DNA from European family groups. But they don't call themselves Europeans, they just call themselves Americans. So when Black Americans were calling themselves Africans, the Africans would say, "You're not African. You weren't born in Africa. You've been over here for hundreds of years. You're no longer African." But now, all of a sudden, when we said, "You're right, we're not Africans, we're Americans. We're Black Americans, but we're Americans." So now it seems to be up for debate. So, are Black Americans Africans? So, listen to this clip, and then I want to tell you what my friend, the co pilot, said.
Since we're sending out reminders, this is just a friendly reminder that Black Americans are not African. We are not African American. And I'm not saying that as a way to try to disassociate ourselves from our lineage. Yes, we have lineage that comes from the coast of West Africa. Yes, that is a part of our lineage, but we are not African. We are not African American. I really just wish that we would drop that part of the title because it does not describe in full like really who and what we are. And it also confuses people about our Americanness, and it makes them feel like we are immigrants like the other people that come over here. We're not immigrants. I saw this TikTok from this guy from West Africa. He's like, if I get, he's living in the United States, and he's like, if I get tired of this place, if I get tired of this country, I can just go home. You guys can't do that. You guys can't go home. Honey, we are home. America is our home. We were born and bred here. There is no other place. There is no other country. It's just here. And this is what I'm saying. We are not immigrants. So that's why just a friendly reminder.
Yeah, we hear Black immigrants saying that. I could go home. Yeah, I could go back home. I got a home to go to when I want to. Yeah, you could go home, but you won't. That's why ICE got to come and pick you up before day in the morning, drive you to the airport, and hold a gun on you till the plane takes off. Because you're never going to want to go back on your own. You got to be made to go back. But anyway, she's right. We got saddled with the African American thing. At the time, it seemed harmless, but I think it has done some harm. So now is the time to do the correction. But let me look at what the co pilot said. I asked the co pilot, are Black Americans Africans? And this is what the co pilot said. That's a powerful and layered question. Let's unpack it thoughtfully. Ethnic identity versus national identity. Black Americans are typically citizens of the United States whose ancestry traces back to Africa, primarily through the transatlantic slave trade. They are not African nationals, example, citizens of African countries, but many identify as African American, acknowledging their ancestral roots. Cultural and ancestral connection. The term African American reflects a cultural and historical connection to Africa, even though most Black Americans today may not know their specific ethnic or national origins due to the legacy of slavery. Some Black Americans feel a strong kinship with Africa and may explore their heritage through DNA testing, travel, or cultural study. Others may prioritize their identity as American, shaped by centuries of unique history, struggle, and cultural development in the United States. Identity is personal. Some prefer Black over African American, emphasizing racial identity rather than ancestral geography. Others embrace both terms or even more specific identifiers like Afro Caribbean, Afro Latinx, or Pan African, depending on their background. So, are Black Americans Africans? Ancestrally, yes. Culturally and nationally, not necessarily. They are shaped by a distinct American experience. Personally, it depends on how each individual chooses to define their identity. And that's really what it comes down to. It's an individual choice. You can't tell somebody you're an African if they don't feel that geographical connection. They shouldn't be shamed or forced into identifying as somebody else wants you to identify. It is a personal decision. Many Black Americans are getting away from the African American label. They don't feel connected to Africa or Africans. So it really is a personal choice. But listen to this individual, and she's a good historian like person. So I like listening to a lot of her commentary.
So here's something that came up on my FYP. Are we still African Americans at this point? And before anybody gets mad, this is not a take, it's a question I'm legitimately asking. Most ethnic identities in the US, like the Irish Americans or the Italian Americans, they fade after a few generations. And according to some studies, by the third generation, most people stop identifying strongly with their ancestral roots. They still might celebrate the food or the holidays, but for the most part, it just becomes symbolic, right? And then they just say Americans. Some of them do still claim the Irish or the Italian, but Americans. But that's not how it works for us. Many Black families in this country have been here a lot longer than some white ones, 7, 8, or 9 generations deep. And still, the African and African American stays. Even though we don't know the country, the tribe, the language, even though the actual link was violently severed. So the question becomes, is it heritage? Is it race, or is it the only category that we were ever offered? And does it still fit? No right or wrong answer here. Not saying what it should be, I'm just wondering out loud. How long does it take before a label is considered outdated? Or do some labels stick because the system won't let it go? Does African American still feel like a connection? Or has it become a placeholder for something that we were never allowed to fully define? What do you think?
I think it's a personal choice. We do have to remember that our ties with Africa were violently severed. The way that we came into the captivity system in the first place is that our people were attacked. Their villages were attacked. They were captured and they were sold into slavery, shackled and put in the bowels of ships. When those slave ships left the west coast of Africa and hit the international waters of the Atlantic Ocean, our ties to Africa were severed. They were over. Those white people owned us. And that is something we have to come to terms with. They owned us. The Africans didn't have anything else to do with us, and we didn't have anything else to do with them. We have had to sink or swim over here with these white people. So now to start trying to pay tribute to people who violently severed their ties with us is really a personal decision. If you want to do it, go right ahead. But for the ones who don't want to do it, they should not be critiqued, they should not be shamed, and nobody should try to force them to identify with something of which they have no connection. So, are Black Americans Africans? As far as I'm concerned, the answer is it's their choice. It is their choice. So no African can come over here and tell you who you are, and no Black American can tell you who you are. It's your decision. And from the bowels of those ships, through the cotton fields, through our entire journey in the United States of America, we are here, still standing and thriving. And they're running over here trying to get what we have. So, how ironic is that? Let me know what you think. Y'all let me know what you think about it. I know how a lot of y'all think. But anyway, let me know anyway. All right, have a good evening.